I don't know how to start this video. What the fuck is up, y'all? Hi, welcome to this YouTube channel, Fabio Shine's YouTube channel. So I haven't been active for like 3 or 4 months, and if you even care, I've just been kind of dealing with something that has happened to me that I don't want to talk about here because it's none of y'all business. But it kind of took me a while to, I guess, process and to be okay with it and to come to terms that life is just very unpredictable and things happened. And I'm kind of in a place now where I feel more happy and I feel more hopeful about my future. So I'm gonna be back at it, making videos here on YouTube and also doing content on Instagram, like how I've been doing for the past almost 2 years, which is really exciting. And I'm really happy about that. But it's time to do some new stuff. And that includes this pride look that I wanted to do. I wanted to do something that I've never done. I know I've done a look with like makeup, with a wig before, but I haven't done like a whole like, you know, get up. But I hope you guys like it. I wanted to do something like, I don't know what to describe this, but I want to do something with chains and just like a bandana in my head and just like, you know. But since it is Pride Month, and also happy Pride Month to all of you guys, and if you are part of the LGBT plus community, I love you so much, and I hope that there is some way in this video that I can make you happy or feel like you are not alone, because I'm going to be talking about like my hardships that I've been through my entire life. I'm not going to mention all of them, but I'm going to mention the ones that really affected me and probably still affect me to this day, because it kind of made me who I am now, like the type of person that I am now. So yeah, hopefully you guys subscribe and like this video and tell your friends about it. And yeah, so let's get started. Okay, so before I talk about all the sad stuff, I kind of want to talk about, you know, the cutesy stuff. I guess to talk about like how I came to know my sexuality. Although I don't feel like I let my sexuality define me, I am attracted to both male and females. I've been like that my entire life, and I guess I came to terms with it when I was probably when I was like 19, 20. That's when I was starting to like, you know, kind of realize like, hey, Fabio, hate to break it to you, but you're a little, you know what I mean? But my whole life I tried to fight it just because I was brought to this world and was taught that being any type of gay, lesbian, transgender, anything was a sin, and it was nothing that was natural ever, and that if I was going that route, I would go to hell. And that came from my parents and just like my family in general about like church and everything. And you know, it was really difficult for me since I did have like a cousin who's gay, and I remember hating him because he was always coming. When he would come here from Mexico, he would always be so flamboyant and so nice. I saw that my parents loved him and everything. Behind closed doors, I would hear my parents say like, oh, like every gay person's going to hell. And I was just very kind of like, is my cousin gonna go to hell? Like, you guys literally like love him to death. And I remember asking them once, and they were kind of just like, you don't understand. At the time I was kind of thinking like, you know, I might like guys, so I was kind of like, am I gonna go to hell? Am I gonna like, you know, be with the devil when I die? And it would always scare me, and I would always stay up late at night just like crying and just like being super scared about, you know, just death, because I was kind of just like, okay, I'm miserable here, imagine how miserable I'm gonna be in hell. So it was kind of really hard for me to like kind of understand at a really young age. I was probably like 7 or 8 when I was thinking about that stuff. So that's really little, you know. I was only here 7 or 8 years here on earth, so it kind of did suck. I feel like when I kind of had like my first guy crush was probably like 3rd grade, 2nd or 3rd grade. And it was this boy that would let me borrow books. He would read all the time, and I used to read like all the time. Like I would literally read on the toilet. Like my parents would literally open the door because I'd be taking forever, and they're like, oh my god, what are you doing? And I would walk in, I'd be on the toilet reading a book, because I was just like, I had to read everywhere, like in bed, in the freaking restroom, at the park, at school, like everywhere. I just was a big bookworm. And I remember one time he had the Spiderwick Chronicles and he let me borrow all of the books. There was like a book that had like a tree on it. It was like this like dark gray book. And I gave it back to him and I was like, this is my favorite one. Like out of all of them, this is my favorite one. And he was just like, really? And then he was like, and I was like, yeah. And he's like, well, keep it. And I was like, keep it, it's yours. Like, it's okay. Like, you can have it back. And he was just like, no, I want you to have it. And I was kind of just like super like excited and happy. And I didn't understand why. And I remember writing our initials on that book. And I was kind of just like, whoa, what are you doing? So I was kind of confused by it. And growing up more, he kind of like became a bully to me. And I hated him like throughout like all of like elementary, all of middle school, and even high school. It was just a little crush, but I feel like he was the crush that like, you know, like you have that crush where you just never get over, like it just never goes away. And like it's just in the back of your head, like always replaying in your head, like a memory or something. I would say that that's him. And you know, it's just something that happens and turns out, you know, I was a little fruity. I'm gonna admit that, you know? And I think when I started to like really like accept myself and be out there and do like makeup and all that stuff was probably the age of 21, 22, when I started going to raves and I started doing my makeup and I started doing liner and lashes. Because I remember the first time I ever did makeup was my best friend Anissa. She did my makeup for the first time ever. I was sleeping at her grandma's house. It was just me and her. And she was like, do you want to do your makeup? And I was like, what the heck? No. But inside I was like, oh my God, like yes, you know? And I still have the pictures. I remember I was super happy when she did it. And then I thought she killed it and she thought she did a really good job. So I guess now I'm gonna start talking about, I guess, like my hardships that I've been through. So growing up, I've always hated myself. I grew up having like eczema. I grew up having like warts all over my fingers because I was like super scared and the doctor was telling me like, you're a really nervous child. You're getting all these warts on your fingers because you're super scared. And being scared was coming from school and also being at home because I was different than like all the other boys that used to go to my school. And also in this house, in my house when I used to live at as a kid, I wasn't a normal boy. I didn't like normal guy stuff. I didn't like playing sports. I didn't like watching sports. I didn't like, no, well, I did love superheroes because I had like a Spider-Man birthday party when I was like 8 years old and like my mom got me this backpack. I had like all my neighbor friends like come over. But like I used to love like Disney Channel shows when it comes to like Hannah Montana, That's a Raven, Lizzie McGuire. And also like my first CD ever was Mariah Carey, The Emancipation of Mimi. I remember going to Target, like going with my mom, like it was like the one in Rosemead that like barely opened at the time. I remember grabbing the CD and I was like, Mom, can you buy this for me? And she was like, Mariah Carey. And I was just like, please, please. I never asked you for anything. Please, please, please. And I was like begging on my knees. And she was telling me like, fine, I'll buy it for you. So she bought it for me and we were walking home because I didn't have a car at the time. We didn't have a car because my dad would take it to work and we would just walk everywhere. I remember like grabbing it like out of the bag and walking home and looking back at it, opening up and looking at the booklet. I was like super excited. And my mom called my dad. He's like, guess what your son asked me for today? And he was like, what? And he was like, a Mariah Carey CD. And he was like, what the heck? That was like my first CD. So I just like, I guess liked female stuff, which I think is stupid because I think music and TV shows and movies are for everyone. It's not for any gender specifically. So if you think like that, you're very close-minded. I remember growing up at home and my dad trying so hard to put me into sports. Like I did flag football, I did basketball, I did soccer. And I remember like one time I was just like, you know what? I don't want to do any of this. I do not like it. I'm not happy. Everyone in the teams would pick on me and like push me and like call me names and stuff every day in practice. And I was kind of like, I'm just not happy. Like I just don't want to do this anymore. So I remember waking up for a game and I told my dad, like, I'm not going. I do not want to go. Like, stop trying to force me to do this. I don't want to go. And I remember he was like super mad and like he like was like, what the heck? Like, why don't you like it? Like, you should like it. and he would like always like push it down my throat. Time went by, and I remember Chelsea from That's Raven. I don't know her name specifically, but she had a song out with Stuck in the Suburbs. I was home watching the TV, and my dad made food, and he was calling me, and he was telling me like, Fabio, come over here, like lunch is ready. And I was like, hold on, like, I really like this song, like let me finish it. He's like, Fabio, come over here right now. And I was just like, you know, jamming out to the song. I was like, oh, this song good. You know, he literally grabbed me, went to the room, they sat me in the chair and literally just started smacking my head like super hard. He's like, I don't even know why you like that shit, that's girl shit, you need to like guy stuff. Crying on the table, and I was like, I'm sorry, like I won't watch it again. He's like, don't ever fucking watch that shit ever again, because that shit's for girls, it's not for boys. I remember like just like crying like all day that day, and like going to sleep crying. It really takes a toll on you, and like, you know, I don't blame anything for my dad. You know, I feel like Mexican dads are like, they're machismo, it's just how they are. And I feel like this generation and the next generations, we have a job to, you know, change these views, because, you know, hate to say it, but like the older generation is eventually going to die. We need to start teaching new generations like, hey, everyone is different, but everyone is beautiful, and everyone should be welcome, and no one should get picked on. It's just how he grew up, so I don't really blame him. It was just really hard for me to grow up, and especially going to school and stuff. I remember getting like made fun of. I remember I started probably getting made fun of probably like around 4th grade, 5th grade. I started hanging out with this girl. Every day I started hanging out with her and her friends, and I remember all the guys in my class was like saying like, oh, like Fabio hangs out with girls now, like that's who he is, like he's gay, he's a fag. And I was just like, you know what, I gotta quit this. So I would go to the basketball court, and I would try to play, and they'd like push me and stuff and be like, get the fuck out of here, we don't want to play with you. And from then on, I kind of just stuck with girls to be friends with, just because they were like super nice to me. I just felt comfortable with them. So, and I feel like that growing up affected me how I am now, just because I still talk to mostly females. Just because I feel okay, I feel comfortable, I feel like they're not judging me. And I mean, I'm not gonna lie, there has been some females that literally judge me too, just be super mean with me, or just act like they can do anything with me just because I am part of the LGBT communities. They're not always saints, let's just say that. But mostly like guys always like pushed me away ever since elementary school. And going to middle school, I had friends that were girls that were kind of popular. So whenever I would hang around with them, and then it was just a big crowd and then the guys were there, they would try to act all different. Like to try to act all cool and like, oh yeah, like, hey Fabio, how's it going? But like when they're not around, they would literally bully the shit out of me. Probably high school, that's when things started to get like a little rough. There was like 2 incidents that probably like really like traumatized me. There was one time where I got my Facebook hacked. I remember that day I was super happy, because I went to an audition for Paramount Pictures, and it's for like this film, and I begged my dad like, please like take me. It was like an open casting call, and I had to like submit like a video where like I just auditioned, and then they emailed me back and they're like, we want you to read for this role. And I remember I was like, hey, like I'm in LA, I live in like close to Paramount, like is there any way I can audition in person? And the guy told me like, yeah, come down and like we'll do that. And I went with my dad that day, and like I had an amazing day. I met like this casting lady and everything, and I was just like super excited for like my future. We're leaving the audition and getting in the car, and my sister called me, and she was like, hey, like is there something you want to tell me? I was like, no, like what are you talking about? Like, well, like I saw what you posted on Facebook. And I was like, what are you talking about? I haven't posted anything. She was just like, well, there's someone on your Facebook saying that you like this guy. I was like, what are you talking about? Like, yeah, one of your status says that you like this guy or whatever. And I was just like, I didn't post that. And my sister was like, I know, I had a feeling you didn't. And I'm like freaking out, because I was like right next to my dad, and I didn't want him to know anything about that, because I was like, oh fuck, he's gonna start telling me shit, and he's gonna be like, this is why you act the way that you are, and that's why you get like, because my dad would talk to me like down to me like that. I was just kind of like fuck scared, because I was like right next to him in the car. And I remember telling my sister like, hey, I'm gonna tell you my email and my password, please just delete it and just delete my account. She was just like, okay. So she deleted it and everything. And I remember going to school the next day, and like everyone literally just staring at me like from my grade, and even people like from my younger grade or like older that I had on Facebook, they were kind of like laughing at me, like kind of looking at me like weird like that. Even like my friends were being weird with me. And I remember going to one of my classes and the guy that they said that I liked was there. He was kind of like, oh, so you like me, you love me, you want me to be your boyfriend. His gang of friends were like laughing at each other and they're like, what a fucking faggot, like blah, blah, blah. Hating that entire day. We're going to home and I was like, I want to move, like please let me move. Like everyone's super making fun of me because it just wouldn't stop. Like no one treated me like normal like my friends did and my girlfriends did, but at the end of the day, like I was still different to them, so they would treat me a certain way and I just hated that. And I remember telling my mom, like, can I please go to a different school? Like, I don't want to be there. Like, I want to start over. Like, I want to change everything about me. Like, my parents were going to make me move to a different school. But then I was kind of like, I don't want to leave. You know what? Like, I don't have to leave. Like, why do I have to leave? I'm not doing anything. So I just ended up facing my fears and just continuing to go to school there. A next one that I kind of want to talk about was probably when I was in PE one year. I think it was my junior year, my sophomore year. I was kind of in the lockers where it was like a stack of like lockers like this way, and there was like kind of like a hallway. You go all the way to the end, and I was at the end. Like I was probably like the last locker, the second to last locker, and I was in a group of like, you know, like kind of like cholos. I remember just like always running to like my locker like every single shift because they would always punk on me. I was always like, fuck, I need to get there before them, change really fast and close the locker and run to PE. There was a lot of times where like I couldn't leave class early, so I would have to get there the same time that they did and they would just always make fun of me. There was like one time where they told me, I honestly don't remember, they told me to give them, I think they were telling me to give them money, like just money. Like one day I was like, I don't have any money, like I don't have anything. They're like, tomorrow when you come to PE, you better have fucking money. And I remember they took out like this like little knife. You know, at the time I was like super scared. They were telling my friends, like my best friends at the time, and they were like, they were gonna stab me. They were just laughing. And I was kind of like, why are you laughing? And then they were like, it's funny, like why are they telling you they're gonna stab you? Like what the fuck? Like, that's fucking weird. And I was just like, I literally saw them take it out and they're like, oh my god, Bobby, like relax, they're not gonna do anything to you. These are my best friends that were telling me this, and I was like, you guys will never understand the shit that I have to go through because you're not like me. You'll never be like me. So you think it's funny, but I was literally scared to death. And I know like their intentions weren't bad at the time, but I feel like for like my whole entire life, I didn't want to be too extra. I didn't want to be too sentimental. I didn't want to be like, oh my god, he's so dramatic. Like, oh my god, he just needs to get over it. He just needs to man up, or he just needs to like not care. And I just was like, okay, I don't want to step in anyone's shoes. I don't want to like be dramatic or anything. So I let people treat me however they wanted my entire life. I would just cry behind closed doors. I know I just didn't want to be like the center of attention, or because when I was, it wasn't pretty. The day that I went back the next day, I had money, and then they like literally cornered me like in the corner of the hall at the end. And then one of the coaches passed by. He saw me and he was like, hey. And then they were like, they all turned around and they're like, you go to class. And I literally just ran to class. The next day, like I walked in and he was like, I walked to my locker and he's like, no, you over here. And he literally just moved me. And he was like, you're going to be on this locker now. You don't have to be over there. And I was like, okay. I didn't even tell the guys anything. They just literally moved me. And I remember they passed by one time and they're like, just because you moved your locker doesn't mean that I'm not going to punk on you anymore. And like, they would all like laugh and stuff. And I just feel like I wasn't comfortable with guys in my entire life because if I was ever friends with them, they would always switch up on me. They'd always switch up around their friends. They try to act all cool or try to act all different. They're like, oh, like I can't make people think like, oh, I'm talking to Fabio like as a friend, because they're gonna think that like, oh, like they like him, and like they're gonna punk on them, and they're like, oh, you hang out with gay guys now. I always never try to get close to them, because if I did or even try to talk to them, they would make me feel uncomfortable and just make me feel like shit. So I always just like stayed away from them. And I feel like that is how I am now. Like luckily I have a group of guy friends that I met at my past job that really just made me change perspective about straight people. It's because I was always scared of them, and they made me feel really welcomed and like loved, and they made me feel like, Fabio, you can be who you are. You know, I'm like very thankful for them. But at the same time, there's still some people that I feel uncomfortable with just because of, I guess, how they act around me or how they treat me sometimes. Now that I'm older, like I don't really want to take shit anymore. So I don't care if I ever sound like dramatic or sensitive or like he needs to get over it kind of thing. Just because I let people slide all the time my entire life because I didn't want to seem dramatic. I didn't want to seem sensitive. I just stopped caring and I'm just like, you know what? If I'm not happy, I'm just not gonna be okay with you. But luckily, it doesn't really happen with me anymore. I have really good friends that just keep it cool with me and just are just really loving people. So shout out to you guys, to all my friends that are guys that always keep me in the loop or just like make me feel okay and make me feel like I'm a part of the boys, I guess, because it really does matter to me and it makes me happy because I never had that in my entire life. So shout out to you guys, love you guys. I don't know what else to talk about. So I guess the next thing that I'm gonna talk about is how I came out to my parents, and it was kind of I know it sounds like fuck, like popular, like you good, like are you okay? Like, I know, like, all this shit happened, but, like, are you okay? Like, honestly, like, it really affected me how I came out because I wasn't ready. I remember I came out to my best friends at the time. They were my first, like, the people that I ever came out to when I said the words, like, hey, I think I'm bisexual because I like girls, but I also really like guys and I don't know how to deal with it and I just wanted to tell you, and they were super supportive of me. In the case of my parents, I got a DM on Instagram and it was like, when you see like the requests on the top where like it's people who don't have you as a friend. I started putting makeup like looks on Instagram, not like for Fabio Shines, it's just on my regular Instagram. Like the message like the person had like no name, had like no picture. It was just like a weird like Instagram account. I remember them telling me like, hey, like, do your parents know that you do all this gay stuff online? Like, do you know that you like to take it up the ass? Because if they don't, I'm gonna tell them. Reading the message and I was like super like scared. I was like, oh my God, like I don't want my parents to find out about my sexuality from somebody else. One time going to go shower, I don't think my mom was home. My shower is like in my parents' room. So I would have to pass like their bedroom to go to shower. And I remember just going in like without saying a word. And I usually tell my dad, like I talk to my dad for a little bit or my mom if they're in the room and just like, oh, like blah, 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 like what happened to my day or just like about anything random. And then I would go shower. But that day I remember not doing that. I went to go shower and I remember I was crying in the shower and I was kind of like, I'm so scared. I was like shaking because I was just like, I gotta tell him. I got out of the shower and I told my dad, I was like, hey, I kind of need to tell you something. And like the way when I don't feel comfortable, when I feel nervous or I just feel like scared, I always tend to look down. It's just something that I do, or I just like uncontrollably shake. But the thing about me though is like I always randomly shake. Like I'm not nervous or anything. Like my hands will just be like I just can't help it. I've been like that since I was a kid. I've just been a nervous wreck ever since I was little. Looking down and like looking at my finger, and he was just like, what? And I was just like, I don't know how to tell you this. I'm really scared to tell you. Like, I don't want to tell you this, but I have to tell you this. And he was kind of just like, what is it? And so there's someone that's threatening to do something, to tell you something. And I don't know how to tell you. And he's just like, what is it? So I remember telling him like, Dad, I like guys. And I just need to tell you this before anyone else tells you this. And he was kind of just, what? They're telling you that they're gonna tell me that you like guys? And I was like, I like guys. And I was like, I like girls too, but I really like guys as well. And I remember it took him forever to be okay with me. Like we had like fights all the time where we would just yell at each other and I would like curse at him. It was just not like a good environment to be in, especially as I've been, accepting myself more. I hated being home. And I remember just my safe haven, or like where I felt safe, was at work or just like with my friends. And I always didn't want to be home, and I always like slept over friends' houses and stuff. Like one time where I got in a really bad fight and I slept over my friend Senny. And Senny, if you're watching this, I love you so much, girl. Like, you don't understand, like you letting me sleep over your house that day really made my heart feel warm. And I just love you so much because you made me feel so welcome and you let me talk about all my feelings. But yeah, I remember sleeping over her house and telling her everything, and she was like, it's gonna be okay, like it's fine, like it takes some time for like parents to understand like their child could be different, and like, but you know, you're loved and everyone loves you and stuff. And I never felt like that in my entire life, like someone sitting me down and telling me like, hey, like I love you and stuff. Yeah, it was just it was really hard for me to like come out. My parents like in an impulse because I wasn't ready, and I didn't want them to find out from anyone else. Telling them, and I felt so free. I never felt free in my entire life. Even though my dad was not being supportive, I was kind of like, wow, it's out there. It's literally out there, and I don't have to hide from anyone anymore. Like, I feel so happy. Looking at where I'm at now, looking at the camera right now and seeing me right now, I'm kind of just like, is this really me? I've come a long way and I'm really proud of myself. Blessed with like a loving family, and I'm blessed with amazing friends, and I'm blessed to have a roof over my head. Found this, like, had this newfound for myself. Yeah, I just want to talk about that. And I just want to talk about, I don't know, all the hardships that make me who I am today and how it affects me now. I feel like all of this has affected me how to be social with people because I was like, I do not know. If you are part of the LGBTQ community and you feel you want to kill yourself or you don't feel happy with yourself, because I've been there. There's been times where, and when I was growing up, when even like when I was super little, that I wanted to kill myself, and I was like, I'd rather just end it all and just not be miserable anymore. There were like really dark days where I just really wanted to hurt myself. It sucks. It makes you feel like you're just like nothing. And I just want to let people know that if you feel alone, or if you feel like there's not going to be any other good days, trust me, if you hold on tight, and I know that it's so hard because I've been in your shoes, please just try to see the light at the end of the tunnel. Even if it's like the littlest light ever, there will be more brighter days ahead, and you are loved and you are not alone, and someone out there is going to love you the way that, you know, people should love you and how you should feel safe with. So yeah, I just wanted to talk about those things, guys. And a happy Pride Month, and I love you guys all. If you guys watch this entire video, tell me what you liked about it, tell me anything about it. And yeah, there's gonna be more videos on this channel. I've been working on recording music. I have a new microphone, actually, it's like right there. I feel like music has been the only thing that has been keeping me distracted from like reality, and it just makes me feel super happy. So expect that and just other stuff, maybe like vlogs. I'm gonna end it here. Love you guys. I hope you guys like the look. I don't know if I ever do anything like this. Like, I like it, but no, I like it, I'm not gonna lie. Bitch, I love it, I'm not gonna lie. But I don't think I would ever do this like in public. Maybe if I ever like have like a big following and I had like money to get like a person to like install the wig and like be bomb look and like lose weight and just look fucking bomb, because I gained a lot of weight during this pandemic and I'm not proud of it. I feel like everyone did. I hope you guys like this video. I love you guys all so much. Don't forget to subscribe and like this, and yeah, follow my Instagram on Fabio Shines. And yeah, hope you guys have a great day. Love you guys. Bye.